Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeremy Hunt and Boris Johnson.
Now, I think you've all been waiting long enough, but in the honoured tradition, I'm going to ask my beautiful assistant to hand me the envelope for the announcement. It's called teamwork. I, Dame Cheryl Gillan, the Joint Returning Officer for the Conservative and Unionist Party leadership election, declare that the total number of eligible electors was 159,320. The turnout in the election was 87.4%. The total number of ballot papers rejected was 509. And the total number of votes given to each candidate was as follows. Jeremy Hunt, 46,656. Boris Johnson, 92,153. And therefore I give notice that Boris Johnson is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
Boris Johnson, the UK's new Prime Minister.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much, Brandon, for a fantastic, well-organised campaign. I think it did a lot of credit, as Brandon has just said, to our party, to our values and to our ideals. But I want to begin by thanking my opponent, Jeremy, by common consent, an absolutely formidable campaigner and a great leader and a great politician. Jeremy, in the course of 20 hustings, 20 hustings or husting-style events, it was more than 3,000 miles, by the way, it was about 7,000 miles that we did crisscrossing the country. You've been friendly, you've been good-natured, you've been a font of excellent ideas, all of which I propose to steal forthwith. And above all, I want to thank our outgoing leader, Theresa May, for her extraordinary service to this party and to this country. It was a privilege. It was a privilege to serve in her cabinet and to see the passion and determination that she brought to the many causes that are her legacy, from equal pay for men and women to tackling the problems of mental health and racial discrimination in the criminal justice system. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you. And I want to thank all of you here today, and obviously everybody in the Conservative Party, for your hard work, for your campaigning, for your public spirit, and obviously for the extraordinary honour and privilege that you have just conferred on me. And I know that there will be people around the place who will question the wisdom of your decision. And there may even be some people here who still wonder quite what they have done. And I would just point out to you that, of course, no one party, no one person has a monopoly of wisdom. But if you look at the history of the last 200 years of this party's existence, you will see that it is we Conservatives who have had the best insights, I think, into human nature, and in the best insights into how to manage the jostling sets of instincts in the human heart. And time and again, it is to us that the people of this country have turned to get that balance right, between the instincts to own your own house, your own home, to earn and spend your own money, to look after your own family, good instincts, proper instincts, noble instincts, and the equally noble instinct to share and to give everyone a fair chance in life, and to look after the poorest and the neediest, and to build a great society. And on the whole, in the last 200 years, it is we Conservatives who have understood best how to encourage those instincts to work together in harmony to promote the good of the whole country. And today, at this pivotal moment in our history, we again have to reconcile two sets of instincts, two noble sets of instincts, between the deep desire for friendship and free trade and mutual support in security and defence between Britain and our European partners, and the simultaneous desire, equally deep and heartfelt, for democratic self-government in this country. And of course, there are some people who say that they're irreconcilable, and it just can't be done. And indeed, I read in my Financial Times this morning, devoted reader that I am. Seriously, it's a great British brand. I read in my Financial Times this morning that there are no incoming leader has ever faced such a daunting set of circumstances, it said. Well, I look at you this morning and I ask myself, do you look daunted? Do you feel daunted? I don't think you look remotely daunted to me. And I think that we know that we can do it, and that the people of this country are trusting in us to do it, and we know that we will do it. And we know the mantra of the campaign that has just gone by. In case you've forgotten it, you probably have. So it is deliver Brexit, unite the country, and defeat Jeremy Corbyn. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to defeat Jeremy Corbyn. And I know some wag has already pointed out that deliver, unite, and defeat was not the perfect acronym for an election campaign, since unfortunately it spells dud. But they forgot the final E, my friends. E for energize. And I say to all the doubters, dude, we are going to energize the country. We're going to get Brexit done on October the 31st. We're going to take advantage of all the opportunities that it will bring in a new spirit of can-do. And we are once again going to believe in ourselves and what we can achieve. And like some slumbering giant, we are going to rise and ping off the guy ropes of self-doubt and negativity with better education, better infrastructure, more police, fantastic full fibre broadband sprouting in every household. We are going to unite this amazing country, and we are going to take it forward. I thank you all very much for the incredible honour that you have just done me. I will work flat out from now on with my team that I will build, I hope, in the next few days to repay your confidence. But in the meantime, the campaign is over and the work begins. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, obviously very humble, very proud to be offered this chance. I think Theresa made a wonderful speech this afternoon about her ambitions for the country. As I say, the United States of America will be in the front of the queue.
What about those who've insulted Mr. Johnson?
Good morning.
I'm so sorry.
His replacement as Foreign Secretary has just been announced as Boris Johnson.
Last attack. Yeah, excellent.
Dobby in the house elf.
This gentleman here mentions bananas. It is absurd that we are told that you cannot sell bananas in bunches of more than 2 or 3 bananas. You cannot sell bananas with abnormal curvature of the fingers.
My name's Boris Johnson.
No, it is in fact Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson. Isn't it?
It is.
Now, what are you asking here? It's perfectly true that I have had some drugs.
Have you? You haven't got any on you, have you?
No.
Get me a ladder.
He got himself into pretty deep water today, helping volunteers clean up a river in the capital, marking...
It was all going well, and then not so well.
About as much chance of being reincarnated as an olive.
No, so why would you say that? Because politics is nothing
being
if not
blinded by a champagne.
But it's nothing if not ambition. Why couldn't you think about being Prime Minister? You could if you wanted to.
That having consulted colleagues and in view of the circumstances in Parliament, I have concluded that person cannot be me.
And therefore I give notice that Boris Johnson is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
Do you want both parties?
I want as much as you want to give me.
Are you ready? I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
There you go.
Our members have decided they have no questions to put to you.
Are you saying they're abdicating their duty to scrutinise me? Are you saying they haven't the guts to put questions to me?
What is
Great
it?
supine protoplasmic invertebrate jellies. So that by the time the next election comes, by the time the election, rather not the next election, we never know whether that will come, but by the time the election for London Mayor comes, in 2008, we will have a winning manifesto that is based on good, old-fashioned conservative principles. Ping pong was invented on the dining tables of England, ladies and gentlemen, in the 19th century. It was called whiff-waff. And there I think you have the essential difference between us and the rest of the world. Other nations, the French, looked at a dining table and saw an opportunity to have dinner. We looked at a dining table and saw an opportunity to play whiff-waff.
That Boris Johnson is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
Thank you. I have a question for each of you as well. First, Mr. Foreign Secretary, I have to follow up on my colleague's question because you didn't quite answer it. You've accused the current U.S. President Barack Obama of harboring a part Kenyan's, quote, ancestral dislike for the British Empire, unquote, while claiming, I think untruthfully at the time, that he didn't want a Churchill bust in the White House. You've described a possible future U.S. President Hillary Clinton as someone with, quote, dyed blonde hair and pouty lips and a steely blue stare, like a sadistic nurse in a mental hospital, unquote. You've also likened her to Lady Macbeth. Do you take these comments back? Or do you want to take them with you into your new job as some sort of indicator of the type of diplomacy you will practice?
You want to go? Well, just thank you for giving me an opportunity really to repeat a point that I made earlier on. I'm afraid that there is such a rich thesaurus now of things that I've said that have been one way or another, through what alchemy I do not know, somehow misconstrued, that it would really take me too long to engage in a full global itinerary of apology to all concerned.
I'm pleased to say we can speak to Baroness Featherstone, Lynn Featherstone, a key figure in the Liberal Democrats, of course, and was inside the Home Office and therefore knows a thing or two about working with Theresa May. Lynn Featherstone, very good afternoon to you. I hope you can hear me all right. What are your thoughts? Tell us some of your key reminiscences about Theresa May, what she was like to work with alongside.
Not allowing Boris to have a licence for his penis replacement water cannons. Penis replacement water cannons. Penis replacement water cannons. Penis replacement water cannons.
Okay, you wouldn't use those water cannon on them, though, that you've got spare there, would you? I mean, what on earth are you going to do with them?
I wouldn't. Well, look, let's just go back a bit. The reason for getting the water cannon was obviously that we had very strong request from the Commissioner for the Police. We had ACPO chief officers saying that they made a formal request to the Home Secretary. It had the strong support of the Prime Minister. Indeed, 68% of Londoners supported it when they were polled. And I think that reflected their memories of what it was like, for instance, in Tottenham on one of the nights of those riots in 2011, when the police spent 7 hours basically being unable to control the situation. The horse charges weren't working. They didn't want to use baton rounds. They needed an intermediate crowd control option. And so that's why they came back to us and said, do you want water cannon? I don't want water cannon ever used on the streets of anywhere in this country. No, I don't want them used in the streets of Northern Ireland, frankly. But when the police make that argument to you, you've got to take it seriously. Now, I've heard what the Home Secretary has had to say today, and obviously I respect the care and the thoroughness with which she's taken her decision.
I don't think anybody wants to see water cannon used on the streets of Britain, because we have, as I said in my statement, if he had heard, a different attitude to the culture of policing here in the UK. We police by consent, and it depends on that trust between the police and the public. There's a range of measures available to the police, and in relation to water cannon, I don't think it's needed.
I think what we will do is we will continue to maintain and to train with those water cannon which we have at our disposal. And if there is, and it's a vanishingly unlikely event, we must hope, but if there is another occasion in which life and limb and property is at risk, and the police really do need to be able to make use of that utensil of crowd control, then, as the Home Secretary has confirmed today, it will be open to the police to apply again.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have bought them, should you, really? You wasted £218,000 of London Assembly money. You shouldn't have bought them unless the Home Secretary had said that you could use them. You did. I used that argument I was pointing out earlier on with shoes. I say that I've saved money by buying them at a discount. But, the point is you've got them and you can't use them.
Well, we can't use them at the moment.
I can answer the question that my honourable friend asked by saying very clearly that it is, of course, at any time open to the police to make an application for the use of a less lethal weapon which has not been authorised. There is a proper process that is undertaken. That is the process that has pertained in this particular case. A business case is put forward, the proper medical and technical evidence is taken, and a decision is then made by the Home Secretary.
Love him or hate him,
Good luck with your preposterous ideas.
Thank you very much.
you simply can't ignore him.
Can you get me a rope?
What
Great
is it?
supine protoplasmic invertebrate jellies.
As London Mayor, he became king of the photo op. Although they didn't always go without slip-ups. He became a leading advocate for Brexit, attempting to explain the evils of EU membership through the waiving of different foods.
Kipper. He has had his costs massively increased by Brussels bureaucrats who have insisted that each kipper must be accompanied by a plastic ice pillow.
It turns out that probably isn't true, but it's not the only big claim by Boris to come under scrutiny.
You lied to the people of London in your
image. Get stuff. That figure represents accurately the gross sum that is
But
sent.
the gross sum is meaningless. You've got the rebate, you've got the public subsidy, so the true sum is 161 million, as best as anyone can get to it. Right.
Which is not in itself to be sneezed at.
He's often been accused of running from difficult questions.
You're sackable, Foreign Secretary.
Finding ingenious methods to avoid being pinned down by journalists. And of course, he's always played down his chances of becoming PM in the past.
As I've said many times before, and I've used all sorts of expressions to describe what is the impossibilia, the adjunita. It is not going to happen. It is more likely that, as I say, I will be reincarnated as an olive, or knocked in a disused fridge, or decapitated by a flying frisbee.
He even ruled himself out of the last Tory leadership contest with this self-assessment.
I have concluded that person cannot be me.
But the Back Boris campaign has carried him all the way to number 10. This is going to be eventful.
That Boris Johnson is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party